Let's move on now to the AFC West division preview, where Ryan and we are going to break down each team's playoff chances. And at the very end of the video, we're going to predict who we feel is going to win the division and who else has the best chance of making the playoffs. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and also ring the bell to get notified when we create new content. Ryan and we are doing a division preview for all 8 divisions, and by the time of watching this video, all 8 should be out. So go check out those other division previews and see who we have winning those divisions. Also, when the regular season starts, we will be doing weekly prediction videos of every single NFL game, week in and week out. So if you want to see how we feel your team is going to do for that week, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also ring the bell to get notified. It is the easiest way to see. And Ryan, let's get into it here.
Let's do it.
The AFC West is extremely unique because you can almost make an argument that the team that is the best team in the division maybe slowly gets worse and worse, yet at the same time it's like my confidence in them winning the division goes up and up and up every single week. And so, but we will get to the Chiefs last. Let's start off with the Broncos here now. Yeah. And Broncos have come into the training camp and have already had 2 huge losses already on the offensive side of the ball. Tim Patrick has a torn Achilles, and also KJ Hamler now is not on the team anymore with a heart condition that has forced him to be released by the team. So they're already down on 2 supposedly key contributors coming into the season on the offensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. And with Sean Payton leading the way, they did draft Marvin Mims.
I was actually critical of that pick, and it actually is going to work out for them, I think.
Yeah, Sean Payton can see into the future. And so it's just hard for me to be optimistic about the Broncos with everything that happened last year. It is we talk about some teams that have question marks and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Some a little bit more vague. This is the vaguest question mark of them all. It's just a big question mark on the whole.
Yeah.
It's just the whole season, the whole situation for them. Because on paper they should be very good, but it's just having very little confidence about just how the season's gone by. It's even last year. It's like everyone was going to give Nathaniel Hackett the benefit of the doubt, just because there is going to be that beginning of the offensive learning curve of the new system, and there's going to be the same with Sean Payton, but it's going to be. I think the short leash now is going to be on Russell Wilson. I don't think it's going to be on the Nathaniel Hackett anymore. So can it be the guy that we all know he was in Seattle, or is it going to be the Russ from last year?
Yeah, and that to me, I think, is just this offense as a whole. Can this offense get back to a normal playing level? Because they were historically bad last year. We've said this on the channel before, but it's the stat of if Drew Lock was the quarterback of the Broncos last year when he averaged, I think it was 17 and a half points per start.
I think it was 20 or something like that. It was so low.
It was really low, but it was they would have been 8-2 if they had averaged 17 and a half or 20 points or whatever through the first 9 weeks. And that to me just shows you how abysmally bad this offense was last year. And to me, that's a really hard thing to recover from, because it's not okay, maybe you need to go from 20th ranked offense to 12th ranked offense. You have to go from the 32nd ranked offense that is the worst we've seen probably in the last 7 to 10 years back to a normal playing style or normal playing average. And it's that's a really hard thing to do actually do, but then also confidence wise, their confidence has to be shot as an offense.
Oh yeah. I will say the one positive for them, they did get Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey for the offensive line. I think that also was an issue for them overall. Also, Javonte Williams is supposed to be back.
Yeah,
ready to go by week 1, and I believe he's actually already back in training camp. I don't think he has any sort of hindrance right now. If I'm remembering that running back that I read on the news correctly. But either way, let's move on though to the Raiders, who had the most offseason transactions and changes that I can remember in a really long time. And so, and I think maybe in the long run this will be the good thing for the team. However, this year I think there were so many moving parts. It's going to take longer for everybody to gel together. And so that combined within the Josh Jacobs scenario right now, where I think that this can bleed into the season maybe, because Josh Jacobs
Yeah.
feels like he deserves well more than just $10 million, and deserves a longer contract because he was the best running back last year. And so I could see him holding out a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
Raiders do not have really anybody compared to come into the wings and step up and be like the next guy. So I feel that there's definitely going to be a learning curve. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's a similar type season last year where there's a lot of close games, but the Raiders just can't pull it out in the end.
Yeah. No, and especially, too, I think you look at a lot of the games that they played, and the passing attack was very inconsistent last year. And the one thing that they did consistently well was run the football. And Josh Jacobs obviously was a large part of that. And if he's not going to be there this year, you're missing a large part of your offense from last year. Then I think you throw in Jimmy Garoppolo and his injury history coupled with his current foot scare of what that brings, what that is. He's also disgruntled Devontae Adams. I said this in their offseason recap, I believe, but it's a little scary to look at what Josh McDaniels did, and he became the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and a little scary to look at what he's done now as the head coach of the Raiders. He is doing almost the same thing, and what he did the first time got him fired. And so that to me is just a little scary when looking at the Raiders going forward. So
no, it's it'll be interesting to see. There's definitely going to be a big learning curve with this team, and I think with Jimmy G, what you get in consistency compared to Derek Carr, I think you lose in overall firepower that Derek Carr had. So we'll maybe have to kind of see how that pans out. But in general, though, I think in the long run, I believe it'll be good for the Raiders, just with all the moves that they made. But I believe like the first half of this year, I think might do them in, and maybe just will put them a little bit too far out of reach. Maybe like do something similar that like the Steelers did last year, where they'll come on strong. That they say everything. But I think the Raiders, it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs just with how good the AFC is. The Chargers, I think on the other side, though, I think that they're one of the few teams that's a playoff lock, in my opinion. So this offensive line, when healthy, has improved immensely over the past couple of years. Rashawn Slater will be back. Corey Linsley will be back as well. Austin Eckler is still one of the best running backs in the league. He's one of the best pass catching running backs. Great for fantasy football. But even then, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen as well. They did get Quentin Jefferson from TCU.
Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson. As well, then also, too, on the defensive side of the ball, they're still solid. They have a weak run game that they need to keep improving on. But passing-wise, though, it's hard to score on these guys through the air. So, and I haven't even mentioned how great Justin Herbert is. So,
and you didn't mention Kellen Moore.
I know. No. And so there are things that are definitely more positive. I think that this is one of the few teams in the AFC who, if they don't win the division, they are a lock for the playoffs. I think that they are a worst of 5 seed.
Yeah, definitely. I think this team is very well-rounded. You look at the pass rush that they bring to the table with Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and then they went and got Tuli Tuipulotu from USC, who's a big pass-rushing defensive tackle, like kind of tweener. Tweener guy. And so I think that should be a lot better. And then Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr., those guys, they have that secondary lockdown. Very hard to throw against them. So I really like the Chargers. And I know people say it every year, but like if they're going to make a jump, I think this is the year that they do it. So, but let's move on quickly to the Kansas City Chiefs here. You kind of touched on this a little bit at the beginning of this episode, but they, to me, continue to let key players walk, right? Like Juju Smith-Schuster was a key player for them last year. He's now on the Patriots. Orlando Brown Jr. was a key player for them. He's now on the Bengals, right? So they didn't really replace those guys. They went out, they got Jawan Taylor, but he has been specifically a right tackle for his whole career. And then I believe they made another move, Donovan Smith, from Tampa Bay to come over. And to me, it's going to be really interesting to watch this team because they don't have the weapons that they have in the past. Kadarius Toney, he could be really good, but also his first year and a half, I think, in the NFL, he battled injuries the entire time. But yet, you look, they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Andy Reid. This defense is really young and looks to be improving. And I still, they're still one of the best teams in the NFL.
As long as Patrick Mahomes is behind center, I have full confidence in this offense. Dude could turn into one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen. Just with his overall athleticism, improvisation, his arm strength, ability to just make extremely accurate passes in extremely weird ways. So he's able to read the defense, know exactly where to put the guys, and I think that's kind of why that they're able to do this, where they're able to let Tyreek Hill go, able to let Juju Smith-Schuster go, and then they go and Kadarius Toney fits into the type of style that Patrick Mahomes likes to play. Sky Moore, same way. Yeah. MVS is just a consistent, reliable receiver. I think Rashee Rice has a lot of upside, but we'll have to see. I think Patrick Mahomes, if I remember correctly, specifically wanted him. So I think with his style of play, I think he can be that kind of consistent type of receiver that they need, while Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore might become they're more gadget players as well. So Isaiah Pacheco seems to be a 7th-round hit. It is just going through the whole list. It's you're right. They don't seem in any other system. I don't think that they would really be that great. They would just be kind of roster fillers. They would definitely make teams, but they'd be roster fillers. Here, though, with the Chiefs, with how they want to play football, they seem to be doing really well. And I think that they will continue to do really well. Also, we haven't even mentioned Travis Kelce, who really is the whole rock of the entire pass-catching team.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about Travis Kelce is I believe he's 33.
I think 33 during the season. He'll become 33 at some point.
Yeah, I think he'll be turning 34 during the season. He's 33 right now.
Oh,
so,
never mind.
It's that's really old for NFL players. I think the average age in the NFL is 24 and a half. Mm-hmm. And so there I think is definitely some cause for concern for the Chiefs offense. There are definitely question marks. For all the teams in the NFL, they are the most likely to answer those questions with positive answers anyway. And so let's move on quickly to who we think is going to win the division. I'll throw this over to you because I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle on this one. So who do you think is going to win that AFC West?
I made this mistake last year, and I won't do it again. I had the Chiefs winning the AFC West. I had the Chargers make the playoffs. I think the Chargers will be the 5 seed. I think it'll be close. But similar to the Bengals, until they can prove to me that they can beat the Chiefs, I just have to keep picking them. And, I'm sure there might be some tough losses at the beginning of the season as they keep on working. But come October, November, December, Mahomes, Andy Reid, all those guys will have everything in check, and they will know exactly what they will be doing and what their goals are within this team. And another thing as well, this defense, it is young. There's a lot of young talent that is starting, and they've got a lot of good experience last year, and they're only going to keep improving. So that I think is going to end up being actually a huge benefactor to this team, especially if the offense does dip a little bit. If their defense is able to honestly stop these offenses from scoring, the offense doesn't need to be as good.
Yeah, I am going to go away from the Chiefs this year, and I'm going to go to Los Angeles, and I'm actually going to pick the Chargers. And they have the best receiving core, I think, in the division. The Raiders, I think, are close, but maybe a little better with Devontae Adams. But all around, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, and you throw Austin Eckler into the mix, and I think that is the best receiving core in the league. And then when healthy, this offensive line is top 10, maybe top 5, right? Corey Linsley at center, Rashawn Slater at left tackle, Jamari Salyer had a really solid rookie season last year, just I think kicking out to right tackle for them. And so that's going to be really impressive. And I think this defense might finally figure it out as well. And with all that said, my biggest thing is the addition of Kellen Moore. This offense, in my opinion, has left a lot of points off the board just for being over aggressive in useless situations. I will use the specific example that we always use, but the Kansas City game last year when the Chargers were running the hurry up, right? They were on the 2-yard line, and instead of taking a break as Josh Palmer was tapping his head to like get me out of here, I'm gassed. Brendan Staley keeps running the hurry up, tries to throw Josh Palmer a pass. It gets picked off, return for touchdown. Chiefs win the game. Whereas if they had just waited and then end up scoring a touchdown, then they would have been ahead and most likely would have ended up winning that game. And to me, there's just small situations like that I think Kellen Moore will really come in and help with. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here. I think that's a little bit of a bold take because, a lot can happen.
No, I like it.
It's also the Chiefs. I just think the Chargers, they're going to bring a lot to the table this year, and I'm very curious to see what they're able to do.
No, I think that those are absolutely fair points, and I can absolutely see the Chargers winning this division because of both the points that we've said. It's maybe the Chiefs have let a little bit too much go. Maybe they don't have that firepower. Maybe that defense hasn't creeped up to that elite level yet that we are expecting them to be. So I can see the Chargers, but at the same time, at the end of the day, they're going to have to prove to me that Justin Herbert can beat Patrick Mahomes. Because I don't think he has actually yet. I'd have to go back and check.
He should have twice. I know that at least. He should have. But then coaching decisions, I think, are kind of what derailed that. Yeah. So.
In the history of the Tracy Take channel, we have not seen Justin Herbert beat Patrick Mahomes. I'll go that far back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he was only in the league 1 year before that. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Tracy Take. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win the AFC West. Do you think it's going to be the Chiefs? Do you think it's going to be the Chargers? Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.